Just a quick reminder that Mario's in every single Breakout paddle. So as you can see, the angles for the ball and the bricks are working. We got the score, we got live system, the bricks on the top have to be hit more, as well as a bunch of sounds and nice background music. Here's what the win condition looks like. And the lose condition. As well as a nice rally I got. As for the code, it's regular include stuff, and this is setting all the text variables, all my sound variables, and loading them from the files. I used specifically SF music instead of SF sound for the background music because I wanted to stream it. This was some stuff, I had fun with file systems, so the Google version of the game actually has images that get chosen, so I tried to recreate that with the file system, and it'll take basically random photos from your documents and downloads folders, as long as they have the right file extension, and set it to the actual blocks. But I wasn't able to show that in this video because my Windows computer only has C++ 14, which doesn't support file system, so I'll link to that in the description later. And then we have our brick loop, so setting up all of them. Here I was setting up the textures, but yeah, just setting their position and their fill color depending on where they are in the loop, and setting their brick damage. So I noticed a lot of other people didn't really do this, but I had a brick damage array where I basically just kept track of how many hits each block had taken. So like the blocks at the top had 5 hits, which I think was the same as the original Breakout game, or maybe just the Google one. And then we have all our ball stuff. We have specific sounds for the wall versus losing a life. As for the for loop with collision, I had basically similar rules for my block, like the blocks versus the player. And it worked pretty well until I was bouncing off the sides of the block. And so what I decided to go with was a very long system, but basically checking and having a specific condition for if it hit the top of a block, if it hit the bottom, if it hit the left, or if it hit the right. And then just modifying the X and the Y based on that. And then if it was a brick, we were changing the fill color and the damage. Damage would decrease by 1. Obviously the color would be the same. And then we have our end screens here. So obviously the loss screen, I would play the lose music. Make sure that it didn't start bouncing the ball around and having random sound effects going on. I used clock to wait a second and then close it. Similar thing for windscreen. Pretty simple stuff. And then elsewise I just draw the normal game loop stuff. I decided for my live system I wanted to have 3 circles instead of just a counter because I thought it looked cooler, so that's just this code. The main problem I ran into with my block code is when it hit the corner, instead of bouncing off, it would go through because it would manage to hit in between the two, in X and in Y. So I ended up just expanding these by a little bit, so now if it hits the corner, it'll just assume that it hit the X instead. As for the actual angle code, that was mostly just ripped from my previous Pong game, and it changed the X or Y depending on where it is. And then I had to specifically take it out, which I didn't have in the previous Pong game, to ensure that you didn't hit it a lot of times and increase the speed exponentially. But yeah, so in general it's pretty simple. The scoring is also really simple. I didn't really look at that, but it's basic scoring. The GitHub, if you want to look into anything more, will be in the description. And yeah, that's all for now.